was that celebration last night?
It was really fun. A lot leads up to it. In our game, we try to do our job to celebrate every win. But in this industry, it's always about what's next, and it's still about what's next right now. But you spend a lot of time, energy, organizationally working towards being a team that has a chance to win a World Series, and it's not an easy thing to do. And you spend a lot of time. I was talking to Kevin O'Connell about this. The head coach of the Vikings when we were over in Minnesota, just how different the sports are, day to day versus week to week, and they're all both really magnified. But the grind it takes every day to compete, to show up, and then have an accomplishment that gets us in the playoffs for the second year in a row is very fulfilling. And
how proud are you of this team and what you guys had to overcome over the course of the season? Because every season has its own challenges, but this one's been unique.
It does have its challenges. It's not a straight line for anybody in this league. It's just not. That's also the separator. And, this has been a grindy year. There's been a lot of, between the rotation and injury and just a lot of different, coming into the season with some open, question marks about positions, and clearly the trade deadline shored that up, and grateful for AJ and all the work that this ownership supported us with. But yeah, it's been a year where a lot of moving parts, and we've had a group that's been able to keep their eye on the prize and stay dedicated. And that's, who you are is what you do when you're most uncomfortable. It's been uncomfortable at times this year, but that's where you grow too. And we were able to get through it, and here we are, and in a good position. And now we are looking at the next steps.
Yeah, and what are the next steps? Because obviously it's nice that you got a little bit of time to start planning for postseason, but also this season's not done yet either. So what's the focus right now?
Yeah, it's you don't want to be with your feet in two different places, but we are in, so we're cemented there, and now we're really clear about we're not going to give anything away. We look to compete, and I want to be here Tuesday night playing in front of the best fans in baseball. We are going to be smart about giving some guys some rest, and people might think, oh man, why are you resting them now? Well, they've been grinding, man. These guys, we bypassed a couple days off for some guys that once we got there that we had thought about and having some days off, going, no, we got to keep going. And so now getting some guys off their feet, but they'll be back on them, making sure we're smart with the bullpen, and guys that have, hats off to Suarez and Morihone last night, 3 in a row for the first time, which we wait for that time, to make sure. So last night was the right time to do it. But man, Morihone coming blowing 100 after striking out the side the day before. Suarez coming in and throwing as well as he did. Fantastic. But those guys are going to get a day or two off as well and take advantage of the off day. But let's don't kid ourselves. We're going to be mindful about put ourselves in the best position to be ready and healthy and compete on Tuesday, but also we want to be here and play on Tuesday as well.
Xander Bogaerts back. How important is it to have him back, and how crucial for him to get this time to get himself ready for postseason?
It's really important. It's a good time for Bogey to be back. We talk about the grindiness, and missing him, sometimes you don't appreciate how solid that guy is and how much he means to our lineup until, it's like anything, you don't appreciate something until it's gone sometimes. And unfortunately it was gone, but Crony and Louis picked up the proverbial slack. But having Bogey back is a big part of this, and the timing of it's great because it's going to give him 4 to 5 games to go play and get his timing and get back into what he needs to do to go help us win.
Any update on Fernando, how he's feeling?
Still battling it, man. Still in a position where medically everybody's like, just get rest. Thankfully we were able to do what we did last night, but don't feel like it was something that we need to bring him in and try to grind through. He's just not feeling really good, but he's on the mend a little bit, and we'll see about tomorrow.
Can you speak to any of the specific symptoms?
He's sick. He's got nausea, and he's got fever, and he's got chills, and he's sick. I don't know what more to tell you. I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not going to talk about people's medical histories without, I'm just tell you he's sick. I don't know what more to tell you. I know you want to be able to report it, but I'll just leave it at that.
No results from tests that have been taken?
I'm not going to reveal medical testing.
Okay.
So.
with Bogaerts back, kind of what it does for your offense, not just obviously having him back, but like completing your offense when Fernando is back too, and presumably next week. Like, what does that mean in terms of having that whole group of guys together, which you haven't had very often?
We have not had it. I do feel like we clearly have a deep lineup, and it's good. We have a deep team, position player team, that guys have been able to fill in admirably. I mean, last night Johnson goes out and plays a great game. You know, McCoy's in there today, expecting to go do some things to help us win a ball game. You know, the lefties, we talked about, you know, how they've been competing well against lefties, and, you know, allowed them to do that, and they've rewarded that. But with Bogey in the lineup, it balances it out. You know, it creates really what the design of the club is to be, and that's to have a balanced attack 1 through 9, and having Bogey back. And then when Fernando gets back, you know, it'll allow us to have that complete lineup.
What can we realistically expect from him after missing the kind of time he did coming back at this time of year?
I think we have. I mean, expectations are always high, and no higher than Bogey's going to put on himself. You know, being at this time of the year, and he, you know, I should probably know the exact number, but you know, this guy's got close to 500 at bats. You know, so and he's missed some time, but it'd be different, like him to figure out his rhythm if this was April or even May. You know, he's got his 500 at bats in. He went to Arizona and got I love the way we approach our rehab with our position players, in the sense that, you know, he was able to get, you know, 25, 30 at bats there. Swing looks really good. So I expect him to come back. It's just a matter of how he's able to move. You know, but I think we're comfortable and confident about that as well. But as far as his timing and his hitting, you know, listen, it's still the big league, so he's making the adjustment there. But wrap up point, I think he's in a pretty good place.
Mike, the ABS challenge system was approved for next year. Have any thoughts on that?
No. When I saw it, I went, yep, it was coming. I could have told you that 2 years ago. So, thoughts, I mean, just like 3-batter minimum, pitch clock, all the rules that get implemented, you know, the commissioner's office does what they do think, and clearly a lot of these things have been really good for the game. It's been proven by fan engagement and attendance and enjoyment. You know, but ultimately my job is to play within the rules that we have, and, you know, in my opinion, ultimately they didn't ask it, and that's okay. It's out of my pay grade, and you know, we'll deal with it next year when it becomes enforced.
How did you think it worked in spring training for you?
I thought it was, you know, fine. I mean, it kind of worked the way I expected it to work. I think the biggest one is, and I just saw, and I don't think, but I could be stand corrected, if they've officially made like how it's going to be implemented as far as like challenge system or that.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the biggest part of it. They'll create some strategy, which we all enjoy. But yeah, as far as it getting, you know, announced, I didn't need to be sitting down. That was coming.
Don't you think it's a good thing to be able to question a pitch that in a key situation where there's so many times it's borderline?
I think it's, you know, ultimately that you want to get it right, you want a fair game, and you don't want a decision to be made to affect a team one way or the other. I think it's also going to save managers some money. We're going to have to really work hard to get ejected now. I mean, with the replay, you can't argue against, you know, a phone or against New York, although I've tried, and that didn't work. That was a bigger fine. And now you can't, you know, yell at an umpire for balls and strikes because he's just doing what the monitor tells him. So ejections go way down and fines are down. So anyway, that's maybe a benefit from it.
Do you want to tell us what call caused you to try and fight with New York?
Probably not. Mr. Torrey got me a couple of years ago. He called me, and, you know, Joe Torrey, a mentor of mine, and known him for a long time, and I took exception with the replay phone, and he said, "Mike, you know how much I care for you." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "But here's going to be what we're going to do for you, to you." And I went, gulp. Thanks, Mr. Torrey. And that was it. But it was, yeah, that would hurt.
How cool was it from your perspective, for Rodriguez to get his first win on a special day like yesterday?
Oh man, how about that one? You know, I mean, talk about a memorable first win. And you know, traditionally guys will get like a beer shower or some kind of shower after their first win. We threw a big party for Bradley last night for his first win. You know, I don't think he knows that's how it works all the time. But yeah, congratulations to him and big for us, obviously. Very memorable.